Hello everyone. Do you think that there's nothing good left in the world and people are terribly hard-hearted creatures that only think about themselves? Well, hold on. First, take a look at these few stories, and who knows, maybe you'll change your mind. Let's get it on. Our first story takes place in the United States. A man named Saul Brown shared it in his personal blog. It all started in New York in late 2005, when Saul came to the city to work as an assistant attorney. During lunch, he used to go outside to the food booths to eat something quick and cheap. The young lawyer always gave the change to a homeless man sitting in front of the booth. Of course, he could buy something else with his money, but the guy chose to help the poor man, whose name was Frank. Over time, the young man and the homeless man became good friends, and is often the case when you see someone every day. This went on for about 2 months, until one day, having gone out to buy food, Saul realized that he forgot to bring any cash. The guy already thought with regret that he'd have to return to the office for cash when the seller suddenly offered him a free hamburger, just for the kindness that the guy showed daily. Saul thanked the salesman, took the burger, and gave Frank one half of it. 5 years later, Saul returned to his native Pennsylvania, then moved back to New York and gradually forgot about Frank. One day, the guy went to a restaurant for dinner, and while sitting at the table waiting for his order, he suddenly heard a familiar voice. Saul turned around and saw a well-dressed man who seemed to be a stranger. It took him a few moments to realize that Frank was standing in front of him. They started talking, and Saul learned that over the past 5 years, Frank managed to fix his life and find a job. The year they met, the now ex-homeless man suffered from depression and felt useless, but the little attention that Saul gave to Frank every day gave him strength and reminded him that there were still good people in the world. It was the money and the words of Saul that helped Frank to believe in himself and eventually recover. But if Saul helped just one person, the hero of our second story gave a hand to many people. There are a lot of organizations in the world that help homeless people and the needy every day. Sometimes their support can seem small, but it's enough to make people feel needed. Jake Austin has been helping the homeless in St. Louis, Missouri for many years. He began to bring soap and shampoos and other supplies to special aid organizations for those in need, but soon realized that this wasn't enough. After all, even with a shampoo bottle, a homeless person simply didn't have the opportunity and place to use it. The situation would have upset anyone, but Jake was not going to give up. Instead, he bought a second-hand truck for $5,000 and also received additional support through GoFundMe. He created a mobile shower inside the truck with 2 separate cabins, sinks, and mirrors, basically everything you need. Of course, carrying tanks of water was going to be a big problem, but Jake found a way to get out of this situation. To get water, the truck connects to the fire hydrants and uses an external generator for the heating. Thus, it can easily move around the city, giving those in need a hot shower. Also, every visitor of the moving shower is offered a clean towel and hygiene items.
So this is what it's set up like when you help the homeless?
This is how it's set up whenever we typically have more stuff than this. This is kind of scaled down for the festival. But yeah, we set up a hygiene table, all the products clean, brand new, organized, so folks can get exactly what they need.
Austin confessed he was inspired by a hygiene investigation, which stated that hygiene promotes health, gives hope, and restores self-esteem to those who may have lost it, and it looks like it really works. Just look at the visitors at the free shower to understand the emotions they experience. So far, this mobile shower travels only across St. Louis, but in the future, Jake wants to significantly increase the number of trucks and travel to different cities of the United States, helping the homeless. Ben Wright had everything in his life: a wife, 2 daughters, a home and a job, but his third child, Benjamin, was born with Down syndrome. 5 years later, the couple decided to have a 4th child, but baby Jake turned out to have the same disease. For any parent, raising a child with special needs is a serious challenge, so they usually stick together. Communicating with the parents of other children, Ben found out that when growing up, these children are actually deprived of a chance to find a job. Then he decided to change everything. He and his wife opened a cafe where only people with special needs can work. The new establishment became so popular that soon they had to find a bigger room and expand the staff of Bitty and Bose from 19 to 40 people. Starting in their hometown Wilmington, soon the family opened a second cafe in another city, Charleston. It's not that we want to show that people with Down syndrome or autism can be waiters or cooks, Ben explains. We wanted to prove that such people can participate in business. Thanks to this, we want to change the attitude towards them in society, and it looks like Ben's succeeding.
2, 3. Videos!
Is it possible to help both children and adults at once? Shoe designer Mike Fritton thinks it's possible. His My360 project provides shoes for children in developing countries. Of course, most of the population of these countries needs food, quality medicine, and drinking water. However, according to statistics, more than 300 million children in the world walk barefoot, and in order to get water, food, and education, you need healthy feet. This was the goal of My360 project, but they not only produce shoes, but also give work to people who can't find it on their own. For example, veterans or those who are in difficult situations. Actually, Fritton has been an innovator in the footwear industry for more than 30 years. Since 1998, Mike has patented 14 prototypes for Nike, but in 2011 he decided to leave the company to create his own enterprise, and today he's making really great things.
It's great to be able to put a shoe on their feet and see them go out and do amazing things.
To support Mike's project, you can invest just $35. This cost includes a pair of shoes and the labor of the workers who will make it. At first sight, Fuller Cut, a barbershop in Ypsilanti, Michigan, is a regular establishment, no different from hundreds of others. It has the usual equipment for hairdressers, but there is one difference. If the client is a kid, the hairdresser always offers him or her a book. Moreover, if the child reads aloud while sitting in the chair, he or she will get a $2 discount. The haircut costs $11, so that's a pretty good deal, especially given the fact that the $2 are usually sent to the pockets of the children themselves. But of course, it's not about the money.
Chocolate is sweet, chocolate is smooth, and chocolate is beautiful and delicious.
Barber Ryan Griffin was inspired by this idea in Harlem, and so far this initiative remains popular with both children and their parents. The feedback from parents and teachers was great. They love it. However, the idea of giving young customers a book is not only aimed at promoting literacy. Since Fuller Cut serves many African Americans, there's a special selection of books available at Fuller Cut. They are about positive African American protagonists and characters, meant to inspire young customers sitting in the chair. They say learning is uncool. We have to break those things.
What's your book?
Frederick Douglass.
I always go back to quote Frederick Douglass. It's easier to create strong children than to repair broken people. There are really many more kind people in the world than it seems at first glance. But the story of Campbell Remes from the town of Hobart in Tasmania is so amazing that it stands out from the rest. When Campbell was 9 years old, he asked his parents to buy gifts for Christmas for all the little patients at the local hospital. But the parents explained to the boy that that was too expensive. After all, there were too many sick patients, and Campbell's family had 9 children of their own. Any other kid would get upset or maybe forget about it, but not Campbell. He decided to make toys with his own hands. The boy went to his room and after 5 hours showed his mother the first toy, a teddy bear. It looked pretty funny and a little clumsy, but Campbell didn't give up, and each new toy was getting better and better. By the way, the boy learned to sew by himself in order to bring joy and hope to other children. And which hobbies did you have when you were 9? Campbell set a goal to make 365 toys for Christmas and give them to sick children. This is how Project 365 by Campbell was created. But the boy did not stop when he fulfilled his plan. In 3 years, he made more than 800 soft animals for children with his own hands. All the toys are very beautiful and very high quality. The young tailor works great with the sewing machine, independently cuts out the fabric for toy animals, and even comes up with different designs. And the young patients at the hospital are always happy with new toys that help them endure the treatment. Campbell himself knows too well how hard it is to cope with a disease, and how bad it is when your loved one is sick. A few years ago, our hero's father was diagnosed with cancer. Then the boy sewed a special toy and gave it to his father with the words, "This is a winner bear. It'll help you beat cancer." Indeed, the bear turned out to be magical and helped his father to overcome this terrible disease. The cancer was gone and never came back. Today, Campbell is only 13, but he keeps sewing bears and giving them to those who really need it. And it seems that together with toys, people get a piece of kindness and love, which warms their hearts.
Hi Campbell, this is Olivia Newton-John, and I'm so excited to be able to thank you. I wish it was in person, but for my beautiful rainbow bear.
Wow.
Dude, are you looking for new technologies and great gadgets? Are your thoughts focused on the future? Do you love huge vehicles and can't imagine your life without robots around you? Then visit TechZone and you'll find all this and more. The link is in the description. You interested? Great.